So the next tool we're going to look at is the clone stamp tool. Now this can be used for touching up your images, but it can also be used in a more experimental way to do some more obvious, dramatic, intentional glitch editing as opposed to subtle, smooth editing. I'm going to show you how to use it for retouching first so you kind of understand how it works. So the clone stamp tool is found kind of halfway down your toolbar, or you can press S on your keyboard for the shortcut. And I'm going to zoom in to the image where we've got lots of different textures here. So let's say I wanted to get rid of this big bit of dirt there. I have my brush here. I might want to make it a bit bigger or smaller. To do that, you can use the sliders up at the top, or a good keyboard shortcut to know is the closed brackets, so the squared brackets. You can use those to very quickly make your brush bigger or smaller. I'm going to want to make a selection from somewhere in my image nearby to borrow the pixels from to clone stamp them over the top to cover up that blemish. So if I press the Alt key or Option if you're on a Mac, it will come up with this little target. So I want to target and take the pixels from nearby here where it's a bit clearer. So if I hold down Option or Alt and then click whilst that's held down, when I let go, it will now hover, borrowing those pixels I have just copied from there. I can then click over where I want to cover up and stamp it over the top so it disappears. So you could keep doing that in theory. So say I wanted to get rid of this one, I might make my brush a little smaller. So I could do Alt or Option and then click to borrow those pixels and then stamp over the top to cover that up too. So you could keep going with that until, in theory, all of that was gone. So that's how to use it for retouching, but you can use it in a more playful way too. So for this to be exaggerated, you don't want your brush to be soft. So at the moment it's nice and soft to help with retouching. I want you to put the hardness right the way up to 100%. You also want to make your brush size quite big, so again using the closed brackets to make this really exaggerated. Now that I've changed those settings, if I try again, so say let's say I take a bit of the egg down here, I'm going to do Option or Alt to target where I want the pixels. I can then stamp from those selections to sort of paint on different areas from the image. So let me try over here some of the texture on this backing paper. So hold down to target where you want to use the pixels and then click elsewhere to copy them over. Now do you see how the target is actually moving there whenever I click? It's kind of automatically moving. If you want to take it from a specific area, I'm just going to undo those, you will need to retarget it each time. So say I want this part of the shell copied everywhere. So I'm going to do it again. I would then need to retarget that and put it up here, and then retarget it and put it up here. Now you might not want to have the dots as the effect. You might want to have it as more sort of painterly, like you're like painting with the pixels. So to do that, you just make another target, so with Option or Alt, and then you can click and drag your brush through the image. And I'm going to reselect and borrow the pixels from here and do the same. So you can kind of, paint through the image to create this glitched effect. And it's up to you. You could kind of really keep building that up so your image is almost unrecognizable from what it originally started out as. But yeah, you want to keep doing Option or Alt to choose where you want to borrow the pixels, and then clicking away. So yeah, keep going with this and you can create something that's quite textured and exaggerated and glitchy.